Hey, it's Base from BaseFit Official. Welcome to today's vlog, and in this video I was thinking about what I wanted to create, and I was thinking I'd love to talk about kind of my opinions on hot topics in the fitness industry and health and all that type of stuff. So I went on my phone and I googled hot topics in fitness in 2018, and a list came up, and the top of that list was high intensity interval training, which is what I'll be talking about today. Otherwise known as HIIT, some people call it high intensity training. Charles Poliquin says that high intensity training is a poor description of what the workout entails. He prefers to use high density training because of the fact that you have a high density of work, you do a high volume of work in a short amount of time. And the fact that intensity kind of refers more to the percentage of your 1 rep max in a lift, which isn't very applicable to high intensity interval training. What is my opinion on HIIT? Thumbs up. I absolutely love it. That's why I've drawn a nice big green smiley face in the center of this whiteboard. Absolutely love it. If used appropriately, managing a variety of factors which I'll touch on in a minute. So I've written out pluses and negatives. This isn't an exhaustive list. These are just the first things that came to mind when I saw the title high intensity interval training. Again, these are my opinions, my beliefs. This is just what I love. First thing I've written down is it jacks up your heart rate. I absolutely love the feeling of breathing hard, breathing heavy, the blood pumping around your body, shoveling fresh oxygen and nutrients to the muscles, removing metabolites and lactic acid, and I love the feeling. Second point that I've written down is interesting. I find high intensity interval training, the nature of it is so much more interesting. You get to push yourself and burn and all of that good type of stuff. You can even use multiple different exercises within kind of the program, kind of like a circuit. So you go from one exercise to another, to another, to another, then rest, then do it all like a big circuit again. Interesting, I love it. Side note, training for a marathon, so I'm doing lots of steady state, so I know the difference between high intensity interval training and steady state, and I can say that this is a hell of a lot more interesting, and it's also a lot quicker, which brings me on to my third point. It's quick. You could get a killer workout in 20 minutes. 20 minutes of HIIT can be an absolutely solid workout if you program it correctly. 20 to 45 minutes is kind of the boundaries that you'd want to use in high intensity interval training. Next thing I've written, which is probably one of the reasons why this is my favorite reason. It is my favorite reason. Exercises your grit and your willpower. Other things like your determination and resistance to pain and pushing through. Absolutely love it. Like a muscle, once you exercise it, it gets bigger, it gets stronger. Your grit and your willpower increases, so that next time you go, you can push yourself that little bit harder, and it's just, I love it. Absolutely love it. The last thing I've written is sweat. That's just because personally I love the feeling of sweating. Not much about it. It just makes me know that I'm working hard, and everything about it. Don't know about you, just sweating. Love it. Not an exhaustive list, like I said before. There are other things, and more scientific things. But this personally is my opinion why I absolutely love high intensity interval training. Now the negatives. Now these aren't necessarily a negative thing, though they are negative if you don't pay attention to them. High stress. HIIT training, high density training, is highly stressful to the systems of the body. It's stressful to the nervous system, stressful to the musculoskeletal system, stressful to the hormonal system, stressful to the endocrine systems of the body. Every system is stressed during high intensity interval training because of the nature of the just go, go, go nature of it. It's just very important that you pay attention to it, because if your body is kind of already on the edge of the amount of stress that it can handle, if you add this on top of everything else without kind of modifying something or substituting it in your program, you'll be pushed over the edge and you'll get an injury, you'll get an infection, you'll get an illness. Just because you do one session of high intensity interval training, you'll be pushed back a hell of a lot. So you need to make sure that you are eating correctly. You need to make sure that you are taking quiet time. You need to make sure that you are happy and that you're moving correctly and that your program allows you to do high intensity interval training so that the stress is able to be kind of dealt with by the body and the body systems. Highly fatiguing. For multiple people who go to the gym, they might put this into the positive, the reasons why they love high intensity interval training, because it's highly fatiguing. And I would agree, for a lot of people who do go to the gym, it would be a positive. However, for a lot of people, possibly even more people, I don't know what the percentage is of people who go to the gym regularly, but it's very low. So there are lots of beginners all the time, and beginners need to watch out for this fact, that it's highly fatiguing. Because once your body and the systems of your body become fatigued, your body becomes more susceptible to poor recruitment of the muscles, poor form. If your form goes out when you're doing this high intensity stuff, you're asking for an injury. So you need to be sure that on every rep of every set, your form is good. You have a quality form, otherwise the risk of injury is too high for me to be comfortable with. So if you're a beginner, watch out for that. Even if you're kind of advanced, you're not God, you're not above this. If your form is poor, your risk of injury is too high for comfort. The next thing I've written is that it's hard. Again, for the same reasons that I said for this, a lot of people would put this into the positives. I would put it into the positives for myself because I enjoy hard challenges. But for the beginner, it would be possibly in the negative if you manage it correctly. Or incorrectly, should I say. In a solid, well-programmed 20-minute high-density training session, high-intensity interval training session, you could be brought to the point of dizzying sickness, throwing up, and that's not a positive experience. I don't care who you are, that is not positive. That is a completely negative experience. It's not enjoyable. And for the beginner, if he gets put through that workout, if he or she gets absolutely viciously brutal workout just shoved at them, and they're on the floor on their hands and knees, panting, sweating, being sick, psychologically they're going to build that relationship between going to the gym and all of this negative emotion and feeling of being sick and just that utter disgust that you get when you're at that point. For advanced or people who go to the gym more regularly, that's not so much of an issue. No, it's not so much of an issue, but for beginners, definitely, you don't want them building that relationship because they won't want to come back. They just won't want to come back because they'll think about going to the gym and then they'll start feeling all of these horrible negative emotions and feeling that they're going to be sick. Very powerful feelings, very powerful relationships can be built. And you want to make sure that it's a positive, not negative. So if you use high intensity interval training with a beginner, you need to really think about this. The fact that you don't want them to be sick. Need to measure their stress, because stress is accumulative. It comes from multiple places, diet being one of them. I won't go into the other ones, but yeah, manage your stress. Make sure that you will not get injured. Measure your form, monitor your form even, because it's highly fatiguing. I love high intensity training. That's my opinion. If you have an opinion, whack it down in the comments. If you have a high intensity interval training session that you love, put it into the comments. I would love to try it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video. Train hard.